You're 78 years old, Dr. Thomas, and yet no sarcopenia, no joint pain, no weakness. You still pike lift weights and sleep like you're 40. I mean, how is it even possible? Most people lose nearly 10% of their muscle mass every decade after 30.
Peter, it's not magic. It's muscle science. And it starts with one food that 99% of seniors are either ignoring or eating at the wrong time. I've eaten it almost every day for 25 years. It protects my strength while I sleep, sharpens my brain, and literally tells my body, don't edge yet.
Okay, I'm already hooked. What is it and why? Don't more people know this?
Because nighttime is when your body either rebuilds or breaks down. Think about it, Peter, between dinner and breakfast. Most people go 8 to 10 hours without food. That's a long fasting window. If there are no amino acids circulating during that time, especially for someone over 50, the body starts pulling what it needs from its.
Dr. Thomas, this is a big one. So many seniors I talk to say, I eat clean, I walk daily, I get enough protein yet. They're still losing strength. Why is that happening?
Peter, this is one of the most misunderstood parts of aging. Muscle loss or sarcopenia doesn't happen just because of poor age. It happens because of poor timing, poor absorption, and weak signaling. Let me explain. You could be eating healthy meals every day, but if your body isn't getting the right type of protein at the right time and the right dose of your muscles, don't get the signal to grow or preserve. Think of it like this. You got construction materials stacked up on site protein, amino acids, but if the foreman doesn't show up, the job doesn't start. That foreman is leucine, an amino acid that flips the mTOR switch in your body and tells it to build, not break. Now here's the problem. After age 50, your body becomes resistant to these signals. You need more leucine, more frequently, just to maintain what you used to keep easily. And here's where most diets fail. They don't hit that threshold, or worse, they dump all the protein into one meal, like dinner. Your body needs strategic, spaced protein meals, especially before sleep. When your muscles go into recovery mode, the result, even with a healthy lifestyle, you're still shrinking slowly because you're missing the signal. This isn't just about nutrition. It's about biology and precision timing. That's why the food we're about to reveal isn't just powerful, it's programmable.
Right. So this idea of timing is fascinating. So let me ask directly, what actually changes if someone eats the right kind of protein before bed? Why is nighttime so important for muscle?
Because nighttime is when your body either rebuilds or breaks down. Think about it, Peter, between dinner and breakfast. Most people go 8 to 10 hours without food. That's a long fasting window. If there are no amino acids circulating during that time, especially for someone over 50, the body starts pulling what it needs from its own muscle tissue. It's like trying to repair your home while stealing bricks from your own walls. Now, imagine giving your body a slow digesting, leucine-rich protein before sleep. What happens? You shift from a catabolic breakdown state to an anabolic repair one. There is actual science to back this up. A 2012 study found that people who consumed 40 gigabytes of casein protein before bed had significantly higher overnight muscle protein synthesis than those who didn't. Casein is the key. Here it digests slowly over 6-7 hours, releasing amino acids like a steady drip through the night. This is where the food we're talking about becomes powerful. Cottage cheese, especially low-fat versions, is packed with casein. Just half a cup gives you around 14 gigabytes of protein, mostly slow digesting. And for seniors, that's gold. It feeds your muscles while you sleep, if you time it right. Especially after a workout or active day, you create an overnight muscle-preserving environment that most people miss completely. So estimating protein before bed isn't just helpful. It's a strategy to fight aging while you rest.
Hold on. I thought eggs were the gold standard for protein. Are you saying cottage cheese is actually better for muscle support, especially for older adults?
That's a great question. Eggs are fantastic. Don't get me wrong. They're affordable, packed with nutrients like choline and vitamin D, and highly bioavailable. But here's the catch. Eggs digest fast. That's great for post-workout recovery, but not ideal for muscle preservation overnight when you need a slow, steady flow of amino acids. Let me give you the numbers. One large egg has about 6 grams of protein, but half a cup of low-fat cottage cheese, roughly 14 grams more than 2 eggs, and nearly all of it is casein protein. That's the big difference. Casein breaks down slowly, feeding your muscles over 6 to 8 hours. It's like putting your muscle on an IV drip while you sleep. Now compare that to eggs. You eat them, your amino acid levels spike quickly, then drop, which is perfect for daytime meals or post-exercise, but it doesn't help you during those long overnight hours. This is why studies show that pre-sleep casein leads to higher muscle protein synthesis. One 2019 study in Nutrients emphasized that nighttime protein intake improves strength and muscle retention, especially in older adults. So to put it plainly, eggs are great in the morning. Cottage cheese is a nighttime powerhouse. And if you're trying to protect muscle after 50, what you eat and when you eat it both matter. This isn't just about more protein, it's about smarter protein.
You mentioned leucine a few times already. Let's slow down and define it for our audience. What is leucine, Shan? Why do you call it the trigger for muscle?
Leucine is one of the most critical nutrients most people over 50 have never heard of. It's an essential amino acid part of the group called BCAAs, or branched chain amino acids. But leucine isn't just another building block. It's the switch that tells your muscles time to grow. And asterectin processin. Here's how it works. Your body has a complex system called mTOR, short for mechanistic target of rapamycin. It's like your body's internal construction manager for building muscle, but mTOR won't turn on unless it senses enough leucine in your blood. Think of leucine as the key that unlocks the door to muscle protein synthesis. And Harris, the important part, just eating protein isn't enough. If the leucine content per meal is too low, say, under 2.5 grams, your body won't flip the switch. That's why older adults often lose muscle despite eating what seems like enough food. The leucine threshold rises with age. What worked at 30 doesn't work at 65. So where do you get leucine? Cottage cheese is actually one of the best sources. A single cup contains about 2.6 grams of leucine, just enough to trigger muscle protein synthesis for most adults. Compare that to some plant proteins or low leucine. Meal state might give you calories, but they don't activate growth. Bottom line, without leucine, it's like trying to build a house without turning on the power tools. You've got the parts, but no action.
All right, let's make it practical. What does a simple daily plan look like for someone over 50 who wants to fight sarcopenia without getting lost in complicated nutrition rules?
I love that question because the solution is actually elegant and simple as long as it's consistent. I call it the daily strength protocol. Here's what it looks like. Protein timing: eat protein-rich meals 3 to 4 times per day, not one big meal at night. Spread it out evenly. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Your body needs multiple anabolic windows throughout the day. Leucine trigger. Make sure each of those meals contains at least 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine. That's the trigger amount that activates mTOR and preserves muscle. This usually means 30-40 gigabytes of total protein per meal. Think a chicken breast, a cup of cottage cheese, or 2.5 scoops of quality whey. Press sleep fueling. About 30-60 minutes before bed, have 1 cup of low-fat cottage cheese or a 30 gigabytes casein shake. That's your muscle drip during sleep. It dramatically slows overnight muscle loss. Resistance movement, do strength training 3 to 4 times a week. It doesn't need to be fancy. Body weight bands, like dumbbells will work. The goal is consistency, not perfection. This protocol aligns your meals with your biology note, with social meal timing or fad diets. Why it works is simple. After 50, your muscle becomes stubborn. It needs a louder signal. This plan sends that signal at every crucial part of the day, from morning to midnight.
Let's talk about something I see all the time, especially with seniors. They'll say, I eat light in the morning, maybe toast or coffee, but I eat a good dinner. So the question is, does that late day protein make up for the skipped meals?
Unfortunately, no. And this is a huge driver of age-related muscle loss that most people overlook. Here is the issue. Muscle protein synthesis isn't a storage system. It doesn't bake. Dual desk protein from dinner to make up for missed meals earlier in the day. It's time sensitive. Your body responds to signals in real time based on what it receives each meal, not daily totals. A major review in the Journal of Nutrition 2020 found that people who ate the majority of their protein at dinner instead of spreading it evenly across the day experienced lower muscle protein synthesis overall. Why? Because the anabolic threshold, the amount of protein needed to trigger muscle repair, isn't met in the morning or early afternoon. So for hours, your muscles are basically left unprotected. This creates a catabolic window. Your body is slowly breaking down muscle tissue to meet its amino acid needs. Now contrast that with someone who eats 20-40 grams of protein at breakfast, again at lunch, and then at dinner. You create 3 distinct opportunities to activate mTOR, trigger recovery, and preserve lean mass. Skipping breakfast protein doesn't just delay nutrition, it leaves your muscles vulnerable all day. So no your muscle doesn't respond to a once-a-day feast. It responds to strategic rhythmic fueling.
So far, we've talked about food timing and leucine, but let's layer in movement. If someone over 50 follows this protein strategy, how does resistance training actually amplify the results?
Great point, Peter, because muscle isn't just made in the kitchen. It's signaled there, yes, but it's activated through movement. When you do resistance training, whether that's weights, bands, or even body weight squats, you're resending a direct mechanical signal to your muscle fibers. We need you to shrink. This mechanical tension activates molecular pathways that are additive with nutrition. So when you train and then consume leucine-rich protein within about 2 hours post-workout, the body doesn't just maintain muscle, it starts to rebuild it stronger. Now, here's the synergy resistance exercise increases your muscle sensitivity to protein. It literally primes your body to use amino acids more efficiently. And for older adults, that's massive because as we age, our muscles become anabolically resistant. We need a stronger signal to get the same effect. Studies show that combining resistance training with evenly spaced protein meals can reverse sarcopenia, improve strength, reduce insulin resistance, and even enhance balance and fall prevention. What kind of training are we talking about? 2 to 4 sessions per week, 20 to 30 minutes each. Focus on compound movements, push-ups, squats, rows, deadlifts. And don't worry about lifting heavy. Consistency beats intensity. So yes, protein without movement is half the battle. But when you fuel and train together, that's when the magic happens.
Now, here's something that really intrigues me most. People think of muscle as just a physical issue, but is there a deeper link between muscle health and cognitive health, especially in aging?
Absolutely. Peter, and honestly, this is one of the most underappreciated truths in longevity science. Muscle isn't just for movement, it's a metabolically active organ that communicates with your brain constantly. When you contract muscle through walking, lifting, even standing, you release molecules called myokines. One of the most powerful is irisin, which travels to the brain and stimulates something called BDNF brain, deferred neurotrophic factor. Think of BDNF as fertilizer for your neurons. IT supports learning, memory, mood, even emotional resilience. So when you preserve muscle through proper protein and movement, you're not just protecting your legs, we're protecting your mind, and the evidence is growing fast. A 2022 study in neurology showed that people with higher muscle mass in midlife significantly lower risk of dementia later on even after adjusting for lifestyle. Another study in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism linked low muscle mass with higher rates of depression in older adults independent of exercise levels. Why? Because muscle regulates blood sugar, reduces inflammation, and supports neurotransmitter balance, all key to brain health. And it goes both ways. When your brain is sharp, you're more likely to stay active, motivated, and consistent. It's a positive feedback loop. So, yes, muscle is more than strength, it's neuroprotection. If you care about your memory, your mood, your focus as you age, you must protect your muscle.
We've talked about protein quality and timing, but let's get specific. How much does the speed of protein digestion really affect muscle loss or retention?
It matters more than most people realize. Digestion speed determines how long amino acids are available in your bloodstream, which directly affects how well your body can build or preserve a muscle. Let's break it down. Fast digesting proteins, like whey or eggs, are absorbed quickly, causing a sharp spike in amino acid grade for total post-workout recovery. Your muscles are primed and ready to absorb. But for muscle preservation during fasting, windows like sleep or long work days, you need a different strategy. That's where slow digesting proteins like casein come in. They release amino acids gradually over 6-8 hours. Think of it like this. Fast protein equals sign, short burst of fuel. Slow protein equals sign, steady IV drip for your muscles. One of the best examples is cottage cheese. Its primary protein is casein. When eaten before bed, it drip feeds leucine and other amino acids throughout the night. Precisely when you are most at risk for muscle breakdown. And we have hard data on this, a landmark 1997 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition compared casein vs whey. It found that while whey caused a quick spike, casein significantly reduced protein breakdown for hours. This is especially important for older adults where the balance between synthesis and breakdown becomes delicate. So to preserve muscle, use fast proteins after workouts. Use slow proteins before bed or during long gaps. This strategy helps you stay in an anabolic or anti-catabolic state more often, especially when you're not eating. That's how you fight sarcopenia around the clock.
Let's talk strategy. If someone is 60, 70, even 80 years old, how should they be distributing protein throughout the day to actually preserve muscle?
Fantastic question, Peter. And the answer here is a real game changer. Most older adults eat their protein backloaded. A little at breakfast, a little at lunch, then a big meal at dinner. But research shows that this uneven pattern results in less total muscle protein synthesis compared to a balanced distribution. The key is to hit the leucine threshold about 2.5 to 3 grams at every major meal, not just once a day. That means getting around 30 to 40 grams of high-quality protein per meal. Here's what that could look like. Breakfast, dry eggs. Greek yogurt, dicey protein. Lunch, chicken breast plus quinoa bowl, equal sign 35 gigabytes protein. Dinner, salmon, veggies, lentils 40 protein. Before the bed, ta tu kap kota cheese. Puptosin tate cheese low digesting protein. Why does this work? Because your body's anabolic response resets every few hours. You can't just flood your system once and expect 24 hours of muscle protection. A 2020 review in the Journal of Nutrition confirmed this. Spreading protein evenly over 3 to 4 meals led to greater toxic gains in lean muscle. When total protein intake was the same, for older adults who already face anabolic resistance, this balanced pattern is even more critical. So the takeaway, stop thinking, did I get enough protein today? Start asking, did I get enough protein at breakfast, at lunch, before bed? That shift in mindset changes the entire trajectory of muscle aging.
Many listeners might wonder, what if I'm not into heavy lifting or intense workouts? Can this protein timing and food strategy still help preserve muscle?
Absolutely, Peter. While resistance training is ideal, you don't need to be a bodybuilder to benefit from smart nutrition. Muscle preservation relies on 2 key signals: mechanical stimulus movement and nutritional stimulus protein with leucine. If you can't do intense resistance training, no worries, light body weight exercises, walking, or even resistance bands are effective. Consistency here matters more than intensity. Plus, the protein strategy alone, proper timing, quality, and leucine content slow muscle loss significantly. Some studies show that older adults improve muscle mass and strength with leucine supplementation alone, even without changing their exercise routines. That said, pairing nutrition with some movement amplifies results dramatically. So, if heavy gym sessions aren't your thing, start with walking 7,000 to 10,000 steps a day, simple chair exercises, or band workouts at home. Over time, this combined approach supports strength, mobility, and independence. Remember, preserving muscle is a spectrum. Every positive step counts.
Dr. Thomas, we know sarcopenia isn't just about weaker muscles. How does losing muscle mass impact metabolism and conditions like insulin resistance?
Great question, Peter. Muscle is actually one of the body's largest consumers of glucose, meaning it plays a huge role in blood sugar regulation. When muscle mass declines, your body becomes less efficient at clearing glucose from the bloodstream. This sets the stage for insulin resistance, which is the precursor to type 2 diabetes. Think of muscle as a metabolic sink where sugar goes to be used or stored. Less muscle means more sugar circulating in your blood, which drives inflammation and metabolic dysfunction. Multiple studies show that people with low muscle mass have a higher risk of developing insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome. In fact, sarcopenia often coexists with obesity in what's called sarcopenic obesity, which further worsens metabolic health. This is why preserving or rebuilding muscle isn't just about strength, it's about protecting your metabolism and reducing the risk of chronic diseases. So, maintaining muscle helps stabilize blood sugar, reduce fat accumulation, and support hormonal balance, creating a healthier internal environment. Overall,
inflammation is a hot topic in aging. How does chronic inflammation affect muscle loss and sarcopenia?
Inflammation is like slow fire inside your body. It wears down tissues over time, including muscle. Chronic low-grade inflammation, often called inflammaging, is a major driver of muscle catabolism as we age. Elevated markers like CRP and IL-6 have been linked to faster muscle loss and frailty. When inflammation is high, it disrupts the balance between muscle protein synthesis and breakdown, pushing your body toward muscle wasting. It also impairs satellite cells muscles, repair machinery, so recovery slows. This is why controlling inflammation through diet, exercise, and stress management is critical. Resistance training combined with adequate protein intake, especially leucine-rich sources like cottage cheese, can reduce inflammatory markers. In fact, reducing inflammation not only preserves muscle, but supports brain health, metabolic function, and overall longevity.
For our listeners who want to start right now, what simple, actionable lifestyle changes can seniors make today to slow or even reverse muscle loss?
Fantastic question. Peter, here are 5 practical steps. Anyone can begin immediately. Prioritize protein. Make sure every meal has 30 to 40 grams of high-quality protein, especially leucine-rich sources like eggs, chicken, fish, and cottage cheese. Distribute protein evenly. Avoid loading protein all at once. Spread it across 3 psyched 4 meals daily, including a slow-digesting protein snack before bed. Incorporate resistance movement. Start with bodyweight exercises, resistance bands, or light weights 3 times a week. Even short daily walks count. Optimize sleep. Aim for 7 up high 9 hours nightly sleep. Supports muscle repair and hormone balance. Critical for preserving muscle. Manage stress. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which breaks down muscle. Techniques like meditation, deep breathing, or light yoga can help. Remember, these changes don't require perfection or drastic lifestyle shifts. Consistency is key. Small daily wins compound into long-term strength, mobility, and independence.
Dr. Thomas, after all this science and strategy, what's the most important takeaway for seniors who worry about losing muscle as they age?
Here it is, Peter, and it's empowering. Muscle loss is not inevitable. Yes, sarcopenia is common, but it's not a fixed fate. You must accept, with the right combination of nutrition, movement, and rest, you can preserve, even rebuild muscle well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. The key is to treat muscle as the foundation of your independence, mobility, and mental sharpness. It's not vanity, it's survival and quality of life. Focus on eating enough leucine-rich proteins spaced evenly throughout the day. Pair that with regular resistance training. Even lighter bodyweight movements work. Prioritize sleep and manage inflammation through lifestyle choices. Start where you are. Even small, consistent changes add up. Your body is adaptable and responsive. It's never too late to reclaim strength. So the real message is hope and action. You're in control of your muscle, your metabolism, and your longevity. The science is cluster. Take the tools, use them daily, and build a body and brain you can rely on for decades to come.